Let's talk about something else that maybe is fueling some optimism this morning, and that is Apple. Apple coming in, defying expectations, including apparently its own, for its numbers this quarter. Let's run through those numbers real quickly here. Sales up 11%, $123.9 billion. $123.9 billion in the quarter. That is record revenue for the company. Earnings per share, as you can see, coming in 20 cents above estimates. What's going on here? A couple of things that we have to note. First of all, there were some new products during the quarter that helped Apple. The iPhone 13, the Apple Watch Series 7, some updated Macs as well. Apple itself had said supply chain constraints were going to be a problem for it. They didn't seem to be as much of a problem as either the company itself or the street expected. And that's how you got those gains that you see in revenue across those different products. The one product that was a bit disappointing was that iPad, down 14%. But everything else saw increases despite the supply chain issues. And one more thing that was a big growth driver that we got to mention is the growth in China. Greater China revenue up 21% to $25.8 billion. And Apple retook the top market share spot in China. There was a big drop for Huawei, and Apple retook that spot, Sozzi.
This is a big quarter, and it is disappointing to me that a quarter like this out of Apple, where it just smashed expectations, is not getting love on Wall Street. If this was a couple months ago, a report like this would probably be sending stock futures higher, and things would be great, and we'd have a lot of positive headlines into the weekend, and we can go and drink our tequila and have a great, Saturday and Sunday, but it's not. And that's a red flag to me. But nonetheless, on this quarter, very impressive. And I was cracking up a little bit this morning. Dan Ives over at Wedbush calling this the Rocky Balboa type quarter from Apple. And I get it. Apple was down and out coming into this quarter. The stock was under pressure, was being sold off in these tech stock sell-offs. And they really showed they are an absolute beast. I will note two things. One, Mac sales up 25%. Apple is primarily now using its own M1 chips for its Mac. That is ultimately another negative, I would argue, for Intel after its challenging quarter earlier this week. Apple's no longer using Intel for its chips. Secondarily, look at the guidance here from the company. Still pretty good for the March quarter, but they do expect a little bit of a slowdown as supply chain constraints continue.
Yeah, the rate of growth, they said, would decelerate, even though Apple's still looking for a record revenue quarter in the current quarter. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Just the numbers continue to boggle the mind. There are 1.8 billion Apple devices currently in use. Over the past 2 years, that's an increase of 300 million devices. Crazy. So just the sheer penetration of Apple's ecosystem is impressive. And what strikes me, Saz, is that for years now, a lot of sort of naysayers of Apple have said, what is the next thing, right? What is the next product? Is it going to be a hardware TV, right? We obviously didn't get that. We got services instead. Is it going to be a car or some kind of autonomous driving project? That has not yet materialized. And yet, Apple just keeps growing that core quarter after quarter after quarter.
And who's to say it's another self-created product, Julie? On the call, they didn't talk much about this, but they noted strength in fitness. If you're Apple, and just given all the cash that you have, why aren't you out here at least considering a potential deal for Peloton? Imagine bolting that Peloton hardware, that universe, that subscriber base to whatever you are doing in the fitness sphere. I mean, it would be an incredible purchase for this company at a severely discounted price.
Just want to.
It reminds me Julie, it would remind me of what Apple did a couple of years ago with Beats. It's in many respects, it would be the same type of purchase, except Peloton, I believe, is a lot bigger.
Yeah, that would be a lot. I don't know. That would be interesting. Call up Tim Cook. I quickly want to check on the suppliers for Apple as well. That's something that we tend to watch, even though Apple is its own supplier more so than it used to be, right? So just keep an eye on some of those suppliers here this morning. They do tend to move in line with those Apple numbers. So that's something that you want to watch as well as we're talking about Apple in today's session. Qualcomm, by the way, as I look at how it's doing in pre-market, it's up about 0.5%, so not a big gain there.